Good morning, everyone. 8 o'clock, getting things started here. Thanks for joining as people come on. Want to welcome everybody. Super excited for our clients and friends and colleagues and industry community to join our webinar today. Navigating Tariffs while serving your clients, hosted by Greater Pacific. Let me introduce myself. I am Jason Freilinger. I'm the COO of Greater Pacific, and I'll be a co-host alongside with my cohort, Scott Anderson, VP of Sales. And we're going to lead you through this thing today. Now, our goal, there's just been so much change and uncertainty over the past several months. As an industry and community, we're all going through it. And I know us at Greater Pacific have really kind of leaned into a great quote from our friend Dolly Parton. It says, "You can't direct the wind, but you can adjust the sails." And really, let's focus on the things we can control. So we're really hoping that you guys joining us today will be able to walk away with some nuggets. So a little housekeeping. You'll notice that your cameras and the chat and you're on mute. You can submit additional questions that you have in the Q&A tab at the top of your screen, and we'll address those. If we can address those questions, they are being recorded, and we can follow up with those. So to start off, I'd just like to give you kind of a quick overview. Going to do kind of a brief introduction to our host today, Ben Zong, and Ben will do a quick overview of the environment. And then we'll turn this over to Scott Anderson, and he is going to walk Ben through the questions that we have received through your registration. We really appreciate those. All right, so let's get moving. I'd like to introduce Ben Zong, founder and CEO of Greater Pacific. Over 30 years in business, Ben credentials and experience really speak for themselves. But where I really connected with Ben, now born and raised in China. When he was a little boy, he loved to dig holes in his backyard. And his mom always told him, if you keep digging holes like that, you're going to end up in Toronto. And when I connected with that, my mom used to tell me the same thing, but I was going to dig myself all the way to China. So somehow our paths crossed, and here we are. So this is fantastic. All right. With that, let's get moving. Ben, you want to open up with a little statement about our current environment, and then Scott, you can take it from here.
Yes, good morning, Jason. Thank you for the introduction. And good morning, everybody in the audience. And I noticed that we have a lot of existing clients and friends and some of my colleagues. And thank you, Scott, as well, to join this webinar here. And we all know that currently we are facing 145% tariff from China. That's without mentioning about the 301 tariff from President Trump's first term. That either 7.5% or 25%. You're adding those, it's almost as high as 170%. And then that almost make us impossible to do business with China. And the environment obviously is very expensive for importing stuff from China. And we must have some changes here. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to bring products in, save our customers money. But there's a little bit good news. So I'm not sure it's good enough news, but it's a good news. Yesterday, the Trump administration announced the tariff will be reduced significantly. And we also heard additional news. We'll be leaning to 50 to 65%, somewhere in between. Now, to be reminded, that has not signed any deals in paper yet. That's just the U.S. side basically sending the message to China. And then in the meantime, we read news from China. They're saying that they're not having any dialogue with the U.S. team. So we don't know when that's going to happen. And how the tariff was calculated, I want to mention a little bit about. And the Trump administration certainly believe that the tariff is paid by foreign countries. We all know that that's a false statement. It's not true. And as an importer for 30 years, we know that the tariff is paid by US importers like us. And when we bring the goods in, we have to pay once a week on our importing bond to the US treasuries. And the tariff, what do we do? Most of the importers like us, basically we build into the price, okay, build into our price and pass on to customers. So that eventually we're leading to high cost of doing business and the inflations, etc. So it's bad. It's not good. Currently, we have about 180 plus open projects. Um, 10% of those we're doing outside of China. Volume-wise, about 30%, about 10% of the orders. And the rest all doing in China. Why we have all those projects doing in China, most majority versus outside of China, because that tariff happened so quickly in 2 weeks, from 10%, another 10%, 54%, then 145%. So it just happened so quickly, and we did not even have the time to make adjustments. But as a solution, I talked to our COO, Jason here. We currently, out of the 180 projects, we have about 50 or so hold in China from shipping over. Okay, those are finished production already, production completed. But if we ship right now, in 2 weeks, we'll be arriving the LA port or Seattle port or New York, and then we had to pay tariff. Then those tariffs, nobody can observe that kind of a tariff. So luckily, our customers, they saying they have time to hold it there. So till the situation getting better, then we will ship it over. Okay, so that's overall what's going on here and currently with Greater Pacific and with the tariff. Okay, so I'm going to get back to Scott. I
Oh,
know you have some questions there.
yep. Thank you, Ben. And I think as you set the stage, there is a lot of change. It is a lot to manage for us, for you with your customers. And we hope by answering some of your questions today that we can give you a little bit of clarity. If I were in the audience and I was you and had a lot of questions, I'd be taking notes, trying to develop what is my message going to be to my customers. I think that's really, really important so that they see you as the experts and they keep coming to you during these times. So let's get to some of the questions that have been submitted. The first one, Ben, how should we communicate tariff related cost increases, production changes, and delays to our clients?
Great questions, Scott. Whoever submitted this question, yeah, that's something we're currently dealing with it. My answer to that question would be that, you know, uh, first of all, we need to communicating clearly, be transparent and honest with our customers. And I know our customers are distributors in the audience, and their customers are end user customers, and we're on the same boat, right? We dis- we as an importer supplier, we first of all trans- be transparent and honest with our customer, and our distributor customers will be the same fashion, transparent, honest, and all customers know what it is. And I think the second thing is that we need to communicating timely. Don't wait. Don't keep them wait. The sooner let them know the impact, and that will be better. And then also, I would like be clear and concise and provided the details uh, again, revised pricing and a revised delivery dates and any relevant details and alternative solutions, that kind of thing, you know. The bottom line is that the tariff is a bad thing when it shows our customer the empathy and acknowledgement of the impact and maintaining a consistent communication channel and all the communications should be documented in writing, not just a mobile. Yeah, I hope I answered your question.
I think you did. I think, one of the things this time reminds me of, for those of us that went through the Great Recession back in 08, 09, what was so important is what Ben said: be in constant communication with your customers, be very clear so that they know you're still there, so that they're coming to you, and just keep those lines of communication open. If you go silent, they start to get nervous and they start to wonder. So let's go to the second question. The next few questions, Ben, this is really around how we are moving outside of China to source some of the projects. So the first question: how is Greater Pacific leveraging sourcing relationships outside of China, and what countries are we pivoting toward?
Oh, that's a good question too. And you guys come up with some great questions here. Well, Great Pacific, first of all, we have been importing outside of China a long time ago. I remember roughly about 15 years ago, uh, Mel, our first employee of the company, been with the company 30 years, traveled to Bangladesh for a polo shirt project. And the reason we imported from Bangladesh that time, 15 years ago, that time did not have a tariff on China, is because the Chinese New Year impact. Our customers couldn't wait for the particular project. So we had a factory in Bangladesh, very good price, but we never done business with them at that time. So Mel took a long flight. I don't know if Mel today is in this audience or not. I figured the flight would took him about 50 hours. He had to transfer here, there, here. Eventually got to the factory. It was about 17,000 or 20,000 polo shirts. That was our first deal imported outside of China. And then 2008, 2009, 2011, we started importing more from outside of China. Once upon a time, I believe it's about 2011, 2012, we even had an office, QC office, sourcing office in Cambodia. Okay. And we were going to open an office in Vietnam if we did not have the COVID disruption. Otherwise, we already have another office there. And so importing from outside China is not new to us. And from first term of President Trump and put all the tariffs, we already shifted our supply chain. Instead of put all eggs in one basket, China, we already shifted a lot of the categories to outside of China, such as bags, apparels. And those goods are easy to shift from China to countries such as Vietnam, Cambodia, Myanmar. Currently, we have several great vendors for bags, apparels in Bangladesh, headwears, and and all kind of bags, PVCs, nylons, you name it, woven, non-woven, that kind of thing. You know, those are easily shifted over to other countries in the Asian Pacific Rim. And there's certain goods, so you know, it's hard to make a shift outside of China, such as um, small electronics. Those are small electronics. China has to be the country produce all the products. Outside of China, like Vietnam, Cambodia, those countries, they just don't have the supply chain. They don't have the technology yet. They have to rely on China a lot for those stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully I answer your question here, Scott.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it does. I think what's important for everybody on the call to understand, there are a lot of folks out there who are 100% with China, and this has probably caught them a little flat-footed. As Ben mentioned, we've been outside of China for over 15 years. We know the projects where we can go outside, and we know when to share with you, hey, we need to stick with China. And just from a time saving standpoint, having been doing this for so long, we are pretty nimble and we can help you to be nimble as well. So, next question. Again, the next few continue to be focused, Ben, from the audience on what we're doing outside of China. How are suppliers outside of China adjusting their pricing compared to China-based suppliers?
Yeah, great question. All depends. My answer to that, based on our real experience, all depends. Overall, generally speaking, the price outside of China slightly higher than China's FOB price, FOB, freight on board price. And the reason slightly higher is mainly because a lot of the raw materials, they rely on China. They had to buy from China, exporting to those surrounding countries. And like Vietnam, Cambodia primarily agriculture country. They don't have a lot of raw materials. Don't have the vertical supply chain like China. And Vietnam is getting better. They have some raw materials, but they don't have all raw materials such as China. And so because the importing part of the raw material to those countries, so therefore the cost, there's a logistic cost, there's some tax getting involved. The cost is slightly higher than China. Okay, so most of the times, okay, we did find some exceptional cases as well, but those are not common things we see. Okay, so if we have the time, you know, to go outside of China, okay, then we need to be considered, hey, the cost is not cheaper than China. But China was 145% tariff cost, still way expensive. So going to outside of China for this time, this challenging times, seems like it's still cheaper than buy from China.
Yep, yep, perfect. Next question. What guidance do we have on mitigating supply chain disruptions and managing alternative vendor sourcing?
That's a wonderful question as well. And then overall, we know this, whether it's a supplier, distributor, or end user, we do business with people we trust, with people we know the capabilities, etc. Right? We just don't want to send a 6 figures or 7 figures of business to someone totally strange to us. So the beauty here is that we have offshore offices, and we have an office in China as well. And the guideline is that we have our people travel to those particular manufacturers if we don't know them. And we just don't want to send an order without going to kick the tires. We want to send our people there to make sure that for real, they're capable for what we are contract with them. And if we sense that they're not the right factories, then we have other alternatives. So that's how we do business. And I hope I answer your question here. And
Yeah,
then,
I think
for
so.
the
I think it's,
distributors, Scott,
yeah,
so for the
go ahead.
distributors, yeah, I assure me not all distributors have the same network or resources we have, right? So in those cases here, that's the value we can provide here. You know, our distributors are assuming not everybody, being to Cambodia, being to Vietnam, or being to Thailand, you don't need to. You got to ask. Okay. So anyway, let me back to you here.
Yep. Thanks, Ben. And then the last question that's kind of around moving outside of China. The question is, what new strategies are being developed internally to diversify production locations and manage manufacturing risks?
That's a great question. So the question again, Scott.
Sure. What strategies are being developed internally to diversify production locations and manage manufacturing risks?
Well, as I said earlier, you know, Vietnam, Cambodia, they are good for, soft goods and apparel, bags, that kind of things. Bangladesh, those countries. And a lot of products that we bring in are beyond those categories. That we have like drinkawares, writing instruments, we have small electronics, we have 60% of the projects are custom toolings, custom plastics, custom metal, all those projects we are doing in OEM capacity. Those projects are hard to move outside of China because those countries we mentioned earlier, they don't have a lot of technicians, engineers as China, especially the supply chain is a little bit lagging behind of China. So those projects, if you have OEM tooling, custom toolings. Like yesterday, we got a order and from a distributor. We looked at outside China. Are there anything there we can find from our sourcing database? And this, we have an AI powered sourcing database. There are about 600,000 manufacturers globally in our sourcing database. We couldn't find anything outside of China. Even China is 145% tariff right now. So we decided that we have to stay within China, mainly because they have the technology. We couldn't find a replacement on this particular product. So it all
Yep.
depends, right? All depends what it is and which country have the capabilities. And in that particular case, we had to make a decision, stay within China.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny as I sit here and listen to Ben, and certainly we live this every day. For those of us who've been in the industry for a few years, the easy part of this used to be sourcing. Not easy, but at least we had a stable sourcing environment in China. Over the last few weeks, things have been turned on their head and things have gotten complicated. And whomever you choose to do business with, we certainly hope it's with us, but whomever you do, make sure they've done their due diligence. Make sure they understand the factories that they're in, because not everything can just be switched. Because we've been doing it for so long, we know the categories where we can move it out of China, and we know when we can't. So again, kind of like we mentioned earlier, we can be nimble and move through these things quickly with you because we've been doing it for so long. Couple more questions, Ben. Next one, the distributors are asking, how can we as a distributor best leverage tariff-related changes to prospect and create new client opportunities? So how can we make this a positive?
Uh, Absolutely. Uh, every challenge, every challenge also represents opportunities. We all know that, right? So I would say keep your customer, stay informed, first of all, and analysis the challenge, and educate your clients. You know, your clients is our clients. We're on the same supply chain. And identify and target affected industries. Offer alternative solutions. I would say, we all know that, and value adding service. A lot of times it's not only about price, even though right now price is so sensitive, and offer values, creating new products or alternative solutions and a service, better service, and build strategic partnership, and be proactive, all kind of things we can do, and be an advocate to the customer, and etc. Engage in those policy dialogue, and be a leader, and be an advocate. Eventually, the customer will know, "Wow, you do so much for us, and you're the guy. We're going to be doing all the customer OEMs and buy all the promotional products from." They're not going to shift their way to other places because we have so much to offer.
Yep. I think it goes back to what we mentioned earlier also, which is as we go through here, develop your own message. Where is your value going to be with your customer as it relates to everything going on? And start to be consistent with it and push it out. That's really, really important so that they look at you as the expert as they go through this. A couple more here, Ben. Next one, what advice do you have for handling urgent price changes and setting client expectations fairly?
Uh, yeah, that's fairly. That's a great question. As I said earlier, we need to be, transparent or be honest, right? Uh, Customer know what it is, and I would say that uh, offer kind of an advanced notice, right? You don't want to. Nobody want to be know something last minute, right? And as I shared earlier, shows empathy and solutions, right? Understand the impact, and it's a lot of dollars difference, right? And set clear expectation, uh, make it clear, don't make it big, and be precise. How much will be different, that kind of thing, and maintaining a professionalism as always, and be confident because every customer facing the same thing. It's not us or one party or one company. So be confident and prepare. I would say prepare for pushbacks. Yeah, because not all customers are going to be say, "Yeah, send me the invoice. We just pay you," right? There will be some negotiation there, and then follow up with the customer, and checking in with them and maintaining a professional, healthy relationship. And those are important things to do.
Yep. One more here, and then Jason will check in with you to see how we're doing on time. So the last one, in terms of what was submitted ahead of time, how will tariffs impact overall product margins versus being passed through to clients?
Yeah, well, we know that the margin will be decreased, no question about it, right? And if we are not losing money, 145%. I assuming I know Greater Pacific, there's no way we have that kind of markup, 145%. We don't. Our average markup, depending on projects, from single digits to low double digits, and that's how we were able to stay in business for 3 decades, right? We always want to be uh, the fastest importer, the lowest price provider, but there's no room to observe 145%. I believe none of our customers today, attending this webinar here, put 150% margins. That'd be almost an impossible thing. So we have to pass it partially, or if not fully, to the end user customers, and hopefully the end user customers have a deep pocket. Fortune 500 companies, they, what's $10,000 increase to them, right? And for most of distributors, they wouldn't, I would say, have the room to observe all the tariffs, and kill their own margins. And I would say that the transfer the margin, the tariff to the customers will helping maintaining your own margin. But the risk there is that it may reduce demand for the future business, right? So there's a good balance in there, how much we observe, how much we pass to the customer. And only distributors, project by project know what's the true answer there,
Yeah,
as a rule of thumb, the optimal approach, I would say that is my case, and maintaining the margins and the market shares and the competitive landscape, those kind of things, long-term, short-term balance. And you just need to look at the whole picture. You cannot just make a judgment and make a decision by one deal.
yeah,
So
for
thank you.
sure. For sure. So, Jason, that is the balance of the questions that were submitted by the audience ahead of time. How are we doing on time? How are we looking? You're on mute. You're on mute, just so you know.
Yeah, we got about 9 minutes or so, 10 minutes, about 9 minutes left. So we've had some submissions of questions, but please, I've been addressing those. But if you guys have additional questions for Ben, please add in. I know there is one here that not sure if you guys covered, but what is the best practice we use to keep client confidence and prevent order cancellations amid this really tariff uncertainty?
Yeah. Well, we just dealt with a couple of cases last week related to the question here, best practice. I, I would say that first of all, as I said earlier, develop a client, it take time, and you can do 100 projects right, but it just take one incident, one case to lose one. Okay, so keep that in mind. Those are currently during this challenge times. Customers, they can read the mind. Who is the partner? Who is a long-term partnership? Who is not? Who's a short-term, just to focus on margins, right? So clients are not blind. And in our particular case there, Jason, Scott, those, how we handled it with this Texas-based distributor, the 145%, how we handled it there is that, as I said earlier, we don't have 145% margin ourselves to say, hey, we observe entirely. What we did was that we asked our factory share the sum, and we, Greater Pacific, we some, and our distributor customer, they share the sum. They said, oh, we're going to forgo the 5% rebate, Greater Pacific. We take all the rebate out, and then we're going to be observe some. The rest of the passed on to the customer. The customer understood that just happening in that case. It's a pharmaceutical client and Fortune 500. They have billions of dollars for marketing budget there, so deep pocket. They understood, and turned out to be a win-win-win-win situation here.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Think with it. Oh, I'm sorry, Jason. I was just going to say, look, we are looking at this, as Ben mentioned, in a holistic approach. So when projects are coming in, if we have the information on where we understand you need to be to win the business, we're going to do what we can with our supply chain to help. We're going to be helping as well. We're trying to close as much as you are. And I think one of the words of the day is being nimble. So we need to be nimble, and I know you do with your customers, and we certainly need to be with you. Jason, did you have a comment?
I mean, I think there's two different situations. It's orders that were placed prior and in production, and then the tariffs hit. And then now it's things after these tariffs are in, how do we close those deals? And I think that gets back to working as a partner. Dealing with those are two different situations that we can work together with. So,
Yep.
perfect.
Yep.
All right. You want to wrap?
I think we are kind of moving up into up against our time. So Ben, maybe we'll turn it over to you for any closing comments you have.
Sure. What a great honor for this morning. And thank everybody uh, attending this webinar with us. And as I said earlier, most of you guys are our friends for a long time. I want to thank you, first of all. Without you guys, we wouldn't be in business for 3 decades. And for some new participants here that we have not used our service and in the past, I strongly recommend you give us a try. And you have nothing to lose because Greater Pacific, we've been importing promotional products, customer OEM stuff for so long. We have so much experience. We learned so much from last 30 years, good and bad ways. Okay, so we like to help you to build your client base, to help you navigating through the current challenge, and to help you mitigating your risks, to help you save money, save hassles, headaches. And this is why our customers love us. And at the Greater Pacific, most of you already know that we have, as I said earlier, 30 days of warranty and guarantee. Everything will deliver to you. If they're not matching what you signed it off as a pre-pull samples, we will redo that at our cost, not yours. And Greater Pacific also offer other benefits, such as we offer 24, 48 hours of sourcing. So if you submit an inquiry to us, you don't have to wait for a week, 24 hours most of the time. And often 5 minutes, you can get a quote, depending on what it is. Okay, so you don't have to wait. And if it's something complicated we have not done before, not very familiar ways, we always, have a sourcing database. As I said earlier, we have about 600,000 manufacturers, an AI-powered database. So we can do a search and get it back to you as quickly as we can. And we're the fastest importer there. We have competitions, and as I always do, but we are in the industry. There's no single importer more production faster than us. Our average production time from sample proof sign off to complete a project, average is 28 to 35 days. That's amazing. So nobody there can matching our speed. And we also offer the in-house creativities. And we have 3D machines, 3D printers sitting in our second building here. And our technicians, designers, they understand the 3D renderings. And those are the capacity resource for you. And if you reach out to us, and that's the benefit you can do business with us. Anyway, so we're looking forward to working closer with you. And the tariff war, we certainly hope it will end soon because it benefits nobody. And be positive, and we're getting better. I certainly hope so. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you, Ben, for those closing marks. Everyone, I'm just going to share a screen. Just want to put our contacts up there for you guys to reach out, please. If you have additional questions, we're here as a resource. Want to help as a community as well as our clients and colleagues to help through this because it's a fight and we're in this together. Scott, do you have anything to close out with?
No, just thank everybody. And I think it's been said here before, but we're all in it together. And we'll get through it together. So if you do have any questions, even if it's not project related, just about tariffs, please reach out to us. We're here to help in any way we can.
Great.
Thank
you, everybody.
Talk
Thank
to you.
you.
Bye.
Have a good day.